Hello everyone, how are we doing? Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to run through the hardest working makeup items in my personal collection. These are pieces I go back to time and time again, whether that's for day makeups, evening makeups, work makeup looks, to fun evenings out makeups, all events, special occasions. Everything is considered. These are just pieces that I use day in, day out. And you could consider this a favorites video, you consider it like ride or die. But generally speaking, I've chosen pieces that you're gonna see a lot of things that I use multi-purpose and I kind of like throw in my bag, know I can do multiple things with, in addition to a few really good basics. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So we're gonna clip the old hair out the way so it's a little bit less distracting. So when it comes to hardworking bases, I feel like especially when I look back over like 2023, the bases I've probably used the most in most of my reels, most of my makeup videos are these two. So we have the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. This is in the shade 4, definitely a bit more coverage. And then the Giorgio Armani Neo Nude True to Skin. This is like the more of a tinted moisturizer, which is actually what I'm gonna use today. Let me know if you wanna see like a year in review of my absolute favorite bases. I would be more than happy to film that for you. And I'm gonna use this with the Nikki La Rose foundation brush from her set she did with BK Beauty, which, spoiler alert, I'm absolutely loving. And I'm just gonna apply this first. So whilst I wouldn't say this one is as much of a multi-purpose as obviously the Charlotte Tilbury one can be sheared down, I just feel like it's one of those bases because it's more of a tinted moisturizer. It gives a really lovely glow. And I have 2 shades of this, but it just always feels like good skin in a bottle. Like you can see the glow I'm getting from this. I just feel like it is a little bit more coverage than a tinted moisturizer, but I definitely wouldn't go as far as like a medium coverage foundation. Again, it's just such a good skin day in a bottle. I feel like the shade range in both of these as well is pretty good. I picked these 2 because they're pretty easy to get hold of. You can see we have a nice glow. I feel like it's very perfecting, but it just looks like my skin on a really good skin day. So another product that is, I'm gonna say this is like in between skincare and makeup, is the Augustus Badana Lip Balm. Or is it Augustus Beta? I always feel like I say this wrong, so apologies. But the lip balm they make in the stick, I feel like I have one of these in nearly every handbag because it's so good, kind of like when you're prepping the skin, like at the beginning of doing my makeup, I'll just kind of like smudge it in a little bit. And it is such a conditioning lip balm. And again, having something in a stick is just so easy and so low maintenance. So that is definitely one of the hardest working items in my beauty bag. I think this is actually my 4th one. That's how many times I've repurchased it. It is a pricey item, but for me, it is worth it. Now it goes without saying, some things in this video will not surprise you, one of which I think is hands down one of the hardest working items in my makeup bag is the Armani Eye Tint in 23. Now this was something they brought back out because it previously was a slightly sheerer formula. I would say this one, and then where is it? My Chanel eye crayon in the Contour Clair in shade 12, this one, which has kind of like a greigey taupe tone. These 2 for me are just the perfect base of any eye look. Like a lot of people will say to me like, Harry, how do I make a really effortless eye look? It's one of these tones, okay? And the Armani shade and the Chanel one have darker versions as well. And the Armani one has some lighter shades as well. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna apply this all over the eyelid. Again, it's just such a good, don't have to think about it, slap it on the eye, you get time to blend, you get time to work it into the eye in a way that's not super intimidating. I just like a big fluffy brush and then I go back and forth. Now the reason I am calling this a hard-working item in my makeup bag is for the very reason that it makes a wonderful eye primer too. So more often than not, when I can't decide what eye look I'm gonna do, I tend to kind of start with this all over the lid. And again, you can see I put it on very haphazardly and then I just go in and blend with a big fluffy brush. I call this kind of like makeup you can't mess up. So it's very forgiving. Again, you can layer it. So if you're like, okay, I want it a little bit deeper, in the socket, I can go in and just add a little bit more depth into the socket and just reblend. Like I said, very, very forgiving. I'm also gonna do a little bit of that under my lash line as well, just a little bit. Even though this got reformulated, I still, like I said, I love the old version, I love the new one. The only difference, and it's incredibly mild, is the fact that the old one was ever so slightly sheerer. And again, you could do this and then have mascara on and you're done, you're good to go. But it also provides a really great eye base, especially if you want to layer products, whether that's more creams, whether that's more shadows, in a way that creates a very long lasting eye makeup look that will lock into place and stay there until you want to remove it. Okay, so next hardest working item in my beauty bag is, you'll be able to tell because all the prints rubbed off, it is the Schwarzkopf Got to Be Glued Brows and Edges. Now, I find on me, because I don't have many eyebrow hairs, without this, any kind of brow powder or brow pencil just looks very unnatural and a bit blocky. So I like to take a little bit of the excess off. Again, this is a pretty good formula, even if you didn't take the excess off. And I will just use this to create very natural looking brows with definition. So again, you can just blot a little bit of the excess off, even if you feel like you still have too much. But when I say this stays in place, it really doesn't budge. So you can see as soon as I apply this, my brow hairs are much more defined and I just get a much more natural looking brow look using a product like this. And again, this one I find incredibly affordable. I've tried some of the most expensive kind of luxury brand brow gels. I still think you can't beat this. Before it actually came in the kind of spoolie wand type formula, I used to actually buy the hair gel version of this and kind of decant it into little tiny pots. That's how long it's been, like I said, not just in my own personal stash, but in my beauty bag for clients as well. So I am just going to work this through, and I find you get a little bit of playtime and then you'll notice the formula kind of start to set. For me, I would rather have something that sets and feels a little bit more firm in texture, but actually holds put, versus something that moves as soon as I put more makeup on. And then once that's dry, you can always go back in as well. I like the fact that when it's dry, you can go back in and add any extra brush hairs if there's any way you want to. So often I'll let it dry, reassess, and then come back. But hard-working product right there. And again, it's affordable. It's a drugstore product. So when I was thinking about the hardest working products, especially when it comes to eye makeup looks I've done this year, there's a couple of products I want to give an honorable mention to. First up is the Roen Beauty palettes. Which one is this? This one is Gold Lust. Definitely done a couple of tutorials with this, and just the shadows in this are so beautiful. I love being able to layer with a cream. So again, this is why I like the Armani as like my base. I can definitely add mascara, good to go when I'm done. The other product that has created so much fun for me this year, and I just love playing with, is the Violette Yeux paint. Especially if there's something you should know about me, okay? You all know I love a neutral. But if I'm not wearing a neutral, I'm probably gonna be wearing pink on my eyes. Now, I definitely don't own any pink outfits, but there's something about a red or a pink that for me just feels my comfort zone. So the three shades that I've definitely worn the most from the Violette collection are these three. So we have this gorgeous red tone, we have a matte red, and then this pink, it's like a blue pink and proper magenta. I have worn these so much, they are incredible. So today, just for demonstrational purposes, I'm going to take Rose Doré, I think it is, this one, which is this beautiful red tone, and definitely one that I wear a lot. And this is what I would say is like one of the quickest ways to add color. So often if you see me wearing like my everyday makeup look and you're like, Harry, how do I change my makeup very quickly? More times than not, I just take something like this and I add it to the eye. So I'm literally gonna take this. I like to start, a lot of people have been asking me, how do I work with these shadows? So for me, I start with a little bit near the lash line and I take a small kind of pencil shaped brush and I just start to feather the shadow out. So I'm not worried about like how much coverage I'm getting yet on the lid or where the product's going to land. This is also another reason why I tend to do concealer after I've done a cream shadow or a powder shadow. But you can see now I just have like a hint of the pink. And obviously you can really build these up. You can use them as liners as well. Again, another reason I consider them a very hard-working makeup item in my makeup bag, because even that just adds the prettiest little twinkle, but I'm also going to wear it as a liner. So again, with these, I think the trick is to keep it as close to the lash line first. Use a small to medium shadow brush and start blending at the edge of where the product ended first. And I like to use little circular motions. Now you do have to work quite fast with these, but once you get the hang of it, again, you can keep building in as many layers as you want. So it gives you a lot of flexibility to create the opacity you want. Let's say you want to have a really intense, solid color. You can do that too with these. But for today, I'm just gonna do a small wash of very twinkly color because that's what I'm enjoying and I'm in the mood for. And I think I will do that under the lash line as well, actually. I'm gonna do a little bit. I'm gonna add it to the outside corner to about halfway, okay? And then I'm going back in with that same big fluffy brush and I'm gonna run it backwards and forwards just to take a little bit of that color under the eye too. Okay, so then I'm just gonna take that same shadow and I'm just gonna run it along the lash line so that I'm wearing it more like a liner now. I can have like a deeper sense of the shadow at my lash line. And I'm just gonna do a couple of dots in the outside corner. Then I'm gonna go back to a smaller brush, even smaller than the first one I used. And I'm just gonna start to softly blend just the top line. So I'm not touching anything lower down, just that top line. Just so it can see it really softly now, like there's more definition near the lash line, but the emphasis, there's still the kind of soft diffusion of the twinkles, twinkly parts on the lid. So one thing that's good about the Violette applicator is if you hold it this way, you can use it like a liner and you can turn it that way to apply it like a shadow. So again, hard-working makeup. That's a great example of it. So I'm just doing this all the way along the lash line, and then I'm just doing a couple of extra dots as I get closer to the outer corner and just adding a little bit more pressure. And then I'm going back to that smaller brush again as well, just to softly diffuse the line, the edge between the more sparkly part of the eye and the more solid line. And again, you can blend it till it's as soft as you like it. I just feel like once you put mascara on, that's going to give you a bit more contrast as well. So again, honorable mention, even though I'm not going to put them on my eyes today, is two liners that I can't live without. The first one is the Sephora Eyeliner Liquid Intense Ink Liner in 09, which is this really beautiful kind of shimmer metallic chocolatey brown. Again, I find for me, browns is my happy place. Like when it comes to eye makeup products, if you were to look through any of my collection, the biggest amount of products you would find is brown eyeshadows, brown liners, brown pencils, because I just think there's so many ways you can play with the shades and the tones and the richness of browns that I personally believe are flattering on everybody. The second one is the Chanel liner, which is a very deep chocolate brown. So this is the Chanel one as well, which you can see is a really beautiful deep matte brown. And I love having both the shimmery option and the matte. I feel like both offer very different things, but are very easy to wear. Okay, next hardworking item in my makeup bag is the Longwear liner from Milk Makeup. I was one of the biggest lovers of the Kat Von D Cake liner, and when they stopped making that, this replaced it for me, and I actually think it's better. So this is the Longwear eyeliner crayon in black, and I just love this into the lash line. Again, it's one of the very few eyeliners I have that genuinely stays put when you wear it on the tight line. So I'm just gonna push this into that lash line, and you can see now how much more intense this eye looks versus that eye. Just by adding that liner, it's going to make my mascara look like my lashes are longer, like they're thicker. It's going to give so much more. And it's just a very quick step that I believe makes a big impact. The reason I like this and find it a hardworking item is because I can make a big impact with one very small step, but also if you do want to use it as a liner on the top and smudge it in, of course you can do that too. Next up, hardworking item, Thrive Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. I think this has been a favorite now for at least 2 years, maybe more. And again, it's a tubing mascara, so it's very easy to take it off when you want to take it off. I find that while this promises to be much more of a lengthening mascara than a volumizing mascara, I still feel like when I wear this, it literally gives me the look of like a false eyelash look. And again, you can see now, if I compare the eyes, just adding this to my top lashes, I mean, with that liner I put on the lower lash line, you just get such good intensity. Like it really starts to finish off the eyes. And I very rarely wear false lashes anymore. If I ever do, it's just corner lashes or some individuals. But this for me, I've never known a mascara give my lashes as much length as this mascara does. Okay, and I'm taking a little bit of that on the bottom lashes too. Such a good mascara. Like I said, comes off when you want it to, but it will stay put for as long as you want it to as well. And for me, getting mascara off my eyes was something that always felt like a chore, especially because previously I would always choose waterproof mascaras. And while there are still some I really love, shout out to the Chanel Volume waterproof mascara, I still feel like this one is such a good statement lash. Like it really gives oomph in a way that not many other tubing mascaras do for me personally. Okay, so let's talk concealer. Now, I love the Dior one, love the Dior concealer, but it gets so messy around the lid. Let me know if anyone else has found this. So the one that I think I have loved the most this year and has definitely been the hardest working product is actually the Shiseido Synchro Skin. So I wear the shade 201, which was the other concealer. The Chanel concealer I also really love in shade 20. But again, I think it's the doe foot on this that I really like, in the fact that you don't need a lot and a little goes a really long way. So I usually just pop a little bit around the side of my nose. I'm just taking the BK Beauty brush, which is a new discovery that I'm obsessed with. And again, I just find when I kind of pat this in, it just gives such like a lovely, perfected skin glow. Like it makes my skin literally look amazing. I think the other reason everyone should have a really good coverage concealer in their makeup bag is for the fact that if you can't be bothered to do foundation, all you need is a really good coverage concealer that you can mix into your moisturizer, or when you have a really hydrated face and you literally just put your moisturizer in, you can just add coverage where you want it and then diffuse it out with a brush. So again, I always like a concealer as well to kind of give me a little lift here. Like I always blend my concealer so that there's like a little lift on the outside. So especially if I haven't done a liner, it just gives that little bit more elevation to my eyes, which I really like the shape that makes. Cream bronzer, definitely a hardworking product in my beauty bag. And for me, I don't think you can beat the Chanel one, especially now they came out with more shades. Funny that this was the travel size. I still feel like I would have liked it to be smaller. I've used the most this year, the medium bronze. And again, the reason I like a cream bronzer is because if all I have is this, a lip balm and a mascara, I can use this as a wash on my eyes. I can use it even a little bit into my lips and obviously my cheeks, and then just put mascara on and you're good to go. So I'm using the BK Beauty 110 brush. This has been my current favorite for cream bronze. And I like to start kind of like the tops of the cheeks and then just really from there start to work it through the skin. And I'll take it quite high on my cheekbones because when I hit the sun, it tends to hit me on any of the high points. And then I like to take a little bit of this in my hairline again, especially if I'm trying to fake a really good suntan or being sun-kissed. Getting it right into my hairline is always where it looks the most natural. So you can see already what a difference that makes, just having the cream bronzer. Like I feel like for me, whenever I felt like my skin needs a little pick-me-up or I want to look really healthy and well slept, just adding a cream bronzer. Again, it never looks like there's a layer on your skin and you still get that really lovely glow. So I always like to take a little bit over the bridge of my nose. And if you feel like you've ever gone too far with your cream bronze, just take a clean brush and you can literally just kind of push any edges back. which will just help you kind of dilute the bronze and take it down a little bit. But Chanel Cream Bronzer, I just think the formula is so good. It is one of my favorites. Hardworking items in my makeup bag, without a doubt, are multi-purpose sticks. You guys know I love the nude sticks. I use these ones a lot. I love the Milk makeup sticks as well. I think they're phenomenal. Liquid blushes for me are also one of those things I kind of think of like a cream bronzer, where I can use them in many different ways, especially if I want a makeup look that looks super natural and I just want to use a wash of color and just mascara, lip balm, call it a day. So NARS Orgasm Liquid Blush is one of those things I came back to this year where I was like, okay, I've forgotten how good this is. Now I have depotted mine. So I'm gonna take, what brush am I gonna take? I'm gonna take this brush, the 113. And I'm just taking a little bit off the applicator. And I'm gonna use this to complement this look, because the NARS liquid blushes, again, can we just see the glow you get? Like, I feel like you can make, it's kind of like the highlighter and cheek look in one. And this shade especially, NARS Orgasm, I feel like I literally fell back in love with it. I was like a little bit in the temples, a little bit too high there. So this is where I'm gonna go back to. Keep your concealer brush nearby. And again, you can just kind of dilute the edges with your brush. But I absolutely love these color combos. Like, NARS Orgasm is such a classic tone for a reason. So I'm just using a little bit of that. And again, just like that flush, it looks so healthy. It looks like you're just having the best skin day ever. The Surratt blushes as well, actually. I fell back in love with these at the latter part of this year. Any kind of cream blush stick or a liquid blush that you could use, again, you can imagine using this as like a wash over the eyes and it looking super pretty. You can use a little bit on the lips, but it means that you don't necessarily need a highlighter unless you want to add one. Again, another honorable mention, the Chanel multi-purpose stick in the sculpting, the multi-stick they call it. Again, I think this makes such a nice eye gloss. And this, for so many years now, has been a firm favorite. So, I mean, literally, like blinding glow. Do a little bit on here, a little bit on the tops of my cheeks. Ever you feel like your makeup is lacking that glow, this is the product you need. Again, I really like to use it as an eye gloss as well. So if I want to just do a very minimal makeup look, maybe a red lip, mascara, that on the eyes looks so good. Okay, lip pencils. 2 favorites from the year. Well, 3, but I've run out and I ordered some more in the Black Friday sale. That one is the M Cosmetics Lip Velvet Pencil in Fawn. I've ordered 2 more. And then the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk and the Chanel pencil in 156, but I did hear through the grapevine that I think Chanel might be reformulating their lip pencils. So I'm gonna go with Pillow Talk because it's easily available and it's one I still love. And I always think with lip pencil, when it comes to being a hardworking item in your makeup bag, it's just a case of you can use lip pencil as the lipstick itself. You can definitely take your finger and like blur the edges for a more softer look. I do think lip pencil, actually, it's creating that illusion of a fuller lip, which if that's something you want to achieve, it's always going to be that little bit easier with a lip pencil because it's going to last longer because of its more waxy formula versus just doing this with a lipstick. And the lipstick that has been the hardest working item in my beauty bag when it comes to lipstick this year is the Chanel, the Rouge Allure Electrate. Forgive me if I'm butchering that. And you guys told me about this. I didn't even know you could do this. You can find the number by pulling it out of the bottom. And this is shade 812, Beige Brute. And this shade, my mum has it, I have it. I know so many of you have told me you love it. Again, sometimes when it comes to having just one good lipstick, it can be your blush, it can be your eyeshadow. Add mascara, you're good to go. And this color is just such a pretty, like, easygoing rosy pink. And the reason I like this is there's not too much blue in it. It's got enough, like there's a little bit of brown in it. It gives it more of like a tawny rose, which I really, really love. And again, I don't use much of it. I tend to kind of pat a little bit on and then just push it into the lip pencil. Powder. I think this is one that like I can often go without, but if there's a powder that I've used the most this year and I would consider a hard working item, It is the, what's it called? The Westman Atelier, the Vital Press Powder. And I will say there are some times when I finish my makeup where I just add powder in certain areas and I'm like, now the makeup's done. So for me, that's often like around the nose, just under the eye. Like I'm never gonna be someone who's gonna like powder my full face because my skin doesn't need it. And my kind of take on powder is like, use it where you want to mattify. And if that is all over your face, of course, that's absolutely fine. But if you want to kind of keep the glow in certain areas, just remove it from the areas you don't want to see it and use a smaller brush. I always think just here is where you want to kind of like knock back the glow a little bit and then kind of around the chin. And then you get that little bit more of kind of like a soft focus look. But that is definitely a selection of what I would say is probably like my most worn makeup items of 2023 and products that I consider to be very hardworking makeup items in my makeup bag, given that I use the products I've shown today in all different kinds of occasions for all different kinds of scenarios, and they've just never let me down, and I always feel like my best self in them. They always feel like an extension of me, and they very much suit my kind of makeup personality. So if you have any questions about curating your own makeup bag of like hard-wearing makeup items, hard-working, I don't know why I keep saying hard-wearing, hard-working makeup items, I'm gonna leave a link to my how to curate the perfect makeup edit video, which will give you some tips on how to make something that really works for you. But that is the finished look. I just wanted to demo a couple of my favorite products. I hope you found that helpful. I would love it if you subscribe and let me know what you'd like to see more of on YouTube, and I'll see you soon with more.